Welcome to my presentation on the government of Estonia, and it's by me. Okay, so I think you need to know a little bit of background before we actually get into what the government is. So Estonia is a country in Northern Europe which is bordered by the Gulf of Finland, the Baltic Sea, Latvia, and Russia. The native peoples are Finnic in ancestry, and Estonian, the official language, is closely related to Finnish. It used to be a part of the Soviet Union, and it now has membership in NATO, Eurozone, and the EU, and its entire population is 1.9 million. Okay, so here's a little map, and I think it's a really beautiful country. And yes, they did have Vikings. So before we get into the parts of government, we need to know a little bit more. So Estonia is a parliamentary representative democratic republic or a democratic parliamentary republic. Those are basically the same, but it's important to know both. And this form of government is very popular with European and African countries, especially those that used to be controlled by one party, like Germany, Austria, Ethiopia, and Cape Verde. Its 15 regions are governed by a prime minister, and there are two main political parties, the Reform Party and the Pro-Patriot and Republican Union, which is two parties that have merged together. The government's annual budget is 8.8 million, and 2% of that goes to the military. Okay, so like the US, it has three branches and a constitution, because it's modeled after the US form of government. So the executive branch. The president is indirectly elected every 5 years. He's the head of state and more of a figurehead than someone with real power, so he's pretty much just there for show. The current president is Thomas Hendrik Ilves. The prime minister is nominated by the president and forms a cabinet which is made up of ministers, so they govern over agriculture and health and things like that. And this cabinet is called the government, and if you hear me say government again, I'm referring to this cabinet. Prime Minister is the head of the government and holds all the power, and the current Prime Minister is Andris Ansip. And here is a picture of the President and the Prime Minister. The legislative branch. The Parliament, or Riigikogu, has 101 members who serve 4-year terms. They elect the President and several important chairmen. The universal elections are held to elect the members of the Riigikogu. And universal elections are what they sound like. You don't even have to be a resident of Estonia to elect the Riigikogu. And the power of the state is accountable to the Riigikogu, but the government holds the right to dismiss the Riigikogu and hold a new election with the president's consent if the Riigikogu does not show confidence in the government. And this is where they meet. So the judicial branch is much like our Supreme Court. Their Supreme Court is the court of last resort, and it's a constitutional and cassation court. And for the Constitution, I took all of this information from the Estonia's official travel website because I thought that it was really clear and kind of put things into perspective well. So, quote, "The Constitution defines the areas of responsibility of the government as the following: implementation of domestic and foreign policies, direction and coordination of the work of the government and government institutions, organization and implementation of legislation, the resolutions of the Riigikogu, and edicts of the President, submitting of bills and international treaties to the Riigikogu, preparation of drafts to the state budget, implementation of and reporting on the budget, and management of relations with foreign states." So how free is Estonia? Estonia ranks 3rd in the World Freedom Index, following Iceland and Finland. So that means that they have a lot of press freedom, economic freedom, political freedom, and all of their people are educated, which is great, especially when you compare it to the countries surrounding it, like Poland and Russia and even Latvia. So here are my sources, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you learned some valuable information. So, Najimist, which is Estonian for goodbye.